All right. Well, good afternoon once again. My name is Brenda Santiago, Head of School for Virtual Prep Academy of Florida. And this afternoon, we're going to go over some general information regarding our face-to-face testing for grades 3rd through 8th grade. We welcome you, in our agenda today is going to include our testing overview, the testing schedule, the regions, because we're a big state, what are our grade levels, our expectations. We're going to talk about a student survey. We're also going to talk about expectations for dropping off and picking up the students, some technology updates, and upcoming events. So as you were aware, in Florida, we do have standardized testing at the end of the school year. This is called Progress Monitoring Test number 3. We have testing in reading and math. We also have science for 5th grade and 8th grade and civics for 7th grade. We also have testing for students in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade. However, their testing is going to take place virtually. They're not required to come to a location to test face to face. I also wanted to let you know that our science test is going to be paper based. And if a student did not pass the civics EOC, they may have to retake it. So these are the grades, and as you can see from 3rd through 8th grade, I have a detail of the testing. So just to go into a little bit more details for our 3rd and 4th grade testing, we do have that they are going to be testing in reading. That's going to be 120 minutes. It's going to be based in the computer. So they will come to our testing center, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But the testing is done online. And for math, they're going to have 100 minutes. We cannot have the two tests on the same day. So on day 1, they'll come to reading, and on day 2, they come to math. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that information as we go through our slides. Now, 5th grade, they do have, in addition to reading and math, and as you can see, they have 120 minutes for reading, 100 minutes for math, and they're going to have 2 sections of science, and each one is 80 minutes, and science is going to be paper based. Now, these 2 sessions, they cannot complete on the same day, so they'll have to come to the testing center in 2 different times. So as you can see, our 5th grade students are going to be coming to our testing centers for 4 days. 1 for reading, 1 for math, and 2 days for science. And testing is going to take place in the morning. Our 6th graders, they only have reading and math. It is 120 minutes for reading, and it is 100 minutes for math. It is computer based. They have to come to our testing center for 2 days. 7th graders, they have what is called a civics and of course exam. So they are going to have 120 minutes for reading, 100 minutes for math, and then on one day, they have 160 minutes for their civics. So they have to come to the testing centers for 3 days. And the civics test is going to be paper-based. And lastly, we have our 8th graders who are taking their reading and math, once again, 120 minutes and 100 minutes. And then they're taking their science, which is based off 2 different sessions. However, it must be completed one day. So it's 80 minutes. And unlike the 5th graders that will be coming 2 additional days, for our 8th graders, the 2 sections have to be completed in one day. So they will have 3 days of testing. So now I want to give you a general overview of what testing looks like. So what we're going to have is we're going to have 4 days of testing. Most likely we're going to start testing on a Tuesday because we need to come and prepare the testing center. So we're going to call it days A, B, C, and D. If you have a 3rd grade student through 8th grade students, everybody comes on day A for reading. Then on day B, we're going to have our math sessions. On day C, we only have our fifth graders coming for their first session of science, and our students in eighth grade are coming for their two sessions of science, but only in one day. Then we're going to have on our fourth day, we're going to have science, our second day for the fifth graders, and we're going to have our seventh graders coming to take their civics EOC. Now, as you can see, there is not going to be any testing in the afternoon unless it is a student that requires extended time. And so for those who require extended times, we're going to have a lunch break. And then for days B, C, and D, when we may have makeups, let's say the student was unable to come to day A, they could potentially make up that test on either day B, C, or D. There is going to be a lunch break, and then they'll stay in the afternoon for makeup tests. This is also the time that we're providing for students that need extended time. And all testing should be finished by 3 o'clock. So parents are responsible for bringing their student to the testing center promptly. We're going to start at 9 o'clock. So we are anticipating that you guys will be bringing your students before 9 o'clock. And then depending on what kind of testing, we should be done by 12 o'clock. But if it is a student that needs extended time, or if it is a student that needs to take a makeup, then they're going to stay with us until 3 o'clock. And we're going to provide lunch for those. There's going to be a lunch break. I wanted to let you know that it is really important that, and this is what we're letting you know in advance, we're starting testing for the weeks of May 1st through the 12th. And it's really important that you make the time and you plan ahead so that when that week is assigned to your student, you are present, because we're not going to have a lot of time to do makeups. And as you know, the state of Florida requires that 95% of the students are tested. And it's really important because if your student does not complete that test, their um, placement for next school year may be impacted. And also, if you do not, then that means that also you have to do some makeup, and that's a lot of, additional work for you. And if you do not do the makeups in the afternoons, then you'll have to come to our Kissimmee office to do the makeups. And that could potentially be a lot of driving for some of you. And you're saying, okay, where is all of this testing going to take place? As you can see, our big state of Florida, we have divided the state in 8 testing regions based on student density. And you can take a look at the map. We have our regions in the Northeast. These are some of the counties that are included. I'm just going to read the first couple, but you can read the next. Like in the Northeast, this is region number 1. We have Duval, Nassau, Flagler. In East Central, which is right here, we do have Lake, Orange. We have East Osceola and Volusia. Here on our southeast region, or region number 3, we have Palm Beach, Broward, Miami-Dade. And then on our west central, right here, region 4, we have Polk County and southwest Osceola, maybe a little bit of Lake. The same thing is going to happen on the west of Florida, the north central, the panhandle, and southwest. You can take a look at the map. What are the counties included? Now, just so that you know, we don't have students in this area. We only have students in Escambia, Okaloosa, and Walton. Excuse me. So that's why we put the number 7 here. But these are our 8 regions for testing. Before let me just go by, I just want to let you know that also in these regions, we are going to have a test center in a area that is accessible to all of the students that live in that region. We're going to try to find the best location available so that you can bring your student by 9 o'clock so that they can do testing. So this is our schedule. For regions 1 through 4, we are going to do testing May 1st through the 5th. So that is week number 1. Because of our staff and because we're a very small school, we cannot run the 8 regions during the same time. So let's look at the map again. We're going to have, if you live in the region 1, 2, 3, or 4, your student is going to test the
Mm-mm.
first week of
Mm-mm.
May.
Get down.
And then if you live in the West Florida, North Central area, or Panhandle or Southwest, we're going to take a look. If you live in the regions 5 through 8, your student will be testing May 8 through the 12th. Like I said, we're giving just general information so you can start your planning. And then the week of May 15th through the 19th, this is when all of the makeup testing will be taking place. Now, if your student, let's say, let's just look at the schedule, let's say for whatever the reason, your student was either sick, was not feeling well, and they couldn't do their reading, we do have makeups in the afternoon so that they can do the reading. Let's say for whatever the reason they missed the science, you had a fifth grader and they missed their first day of science, so they could potentially do their science on the makeup day, makeup time. But if they are not able to do any of their makeup, what is going to happen, they're going to have to come to our um, location in Kissimmee. We have an office in Kissimmee, and they'll have to do their makeup test. And we are going to give these makeup tests by appointment. So, and like I said, it's really, really important. We ask that you really help us. We want to work with you, and we want to make sure that none of our students miss their testing opportunity, because we don't want for them to lose their placement for the 23-24 school year. When you agreed that your student was going to be in our virtual school, you receive a copy of the student handbook. The student handbook is also on our website, and it say very clearly that student testing that is mandated by the state has to be completed, and students who do not participate in state mandate may lose their placement for the 23-24 school year. We don't want to lose anyone. We want to have all of you come back to us. So it's really important that you abide by this schedule. And now I'm going to pass the baton to our school counselor, Mrs. Aman.
Thank you. So we're going to talk about some expectations for testing. So we must have contact information for at least 3 adults who have permission to pick up the child, and this must be provided to our school registrar. So we are going to ask that each of you complete the student contact form, which is at the link provided below, so that we do have that information on file. And this is the information Miss excuse me, Miss Santiago just opened. So this is the we're going to ask you for your address um, and the city, state. I think it go down. Here we go. The zip code and just the primary emergency email, secondary contact information, so that we have everything on file. All right. And then parents and learning coaches are responsible for driving and picking up the student to and from the testing centers on time. So, like Miss Santiago said, it'll probably be 9 a.m. So we would ask that account for any traffic or any delays along the way, and make sure that you're there on time so that we can start testing on time and end testing on time. Testing locations may be approximately 30 to 45 minutes from your home. So I know that we have mapped all of the students and looked at them carefully to see all of the regions, and that's how those 8 regions were chosen. And so it's really to ensure that you guys don't have to drive so far. There may be a couple of situations that we'll take case by case, and we'll look at those just to ensure that you're not driving too far from home. But approximately it will be 30 to 45 miles from home. A state issued ID will be required to drop off and pick up the student. So make sure that you're bringing, a license or ID, some type of identification in order so that we can ensure, that it is the appropriate person picking up and dropping off the student. We will be working with our families in transition, those who live more than 40 miles away, to ensure timely attendance to the testing site. Okay, so we will contact you with that information. Let's see. Okay. Appropriate student dress code will be required. So we do recommend long pants. It may be cold in the testing room. We don't want, any of the students to be uncomfortable. So making sure that you do have a light jacket with you as it may get cold, and shirts without inappropriate pictures, words, closed-toed shoes are definitely recommended. But we want to make sure that you are wearing, appropriate attire though. Students must be dropped off and picked up on time. If a child is not picked up within 30 minutes of a testing session, we are required to contact law enforcement. So making sure that, if there is some kind of emergency or delay, that you are contacting us. But that is a requirement that you are there within 30 minutes of the end of the testing time. So we also want to make sure that your student eats a healthy breakfast prior to arrival. It's important for their students' bellies to be full so that they are doing well on the test and they're not sitting there hungry and thinking about, food rather than the material that they've been learning all year. So make sure that they eat prior to coming to testing. All students must bring their VPrep Florida issued student laptop and charger. So if you have a laptop from VPrep, make sure that you're bringing that. If you do not have a VPrep issued laptop, I believe we will be providing those on the site.
That is
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
We only will accept the VPrep Florida issued laptops. Personal
Okay.
laptops are not accepted.
All right. I think we can go to the next slide. All right. No cell phones are allowed during testing. We'll just let you know now that if a student does bring a cell phone, it will be taken away and it will be stored until the testing is completed. That is a state mandate. So we cannot have students, having a cell phone or any electronic device on them. So that includes like smartwatches, any type of um, of technical device may not be on them. So it will be taken away at the beginning of testing. We are not allowed to give medication. Snacks will be provided. Lunch will be provided for students who will be testing both the morning and the afternoon sessions. So students with extended time. For dietary restrictions, please complete the student health survey. So Ms. Santiago is opening that now. All right, so it'll give an opportunity to put like any allergies or any medication that the student does take. That's choosing the grade level, date completed. So you can go through the form and complete that. Just make sure we have that on file. That's very important, that we have that information. Makeups after testing week will be scheduled at the office in Kissimmee. And then, just like Ms. Santiago said, students who do not attend testing may lose their placement for next school year. And we do want to see all of our students return.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, Mrs. Aman.
Thank you.
One of the things that I also want to share is that we want to make sure that your health information, and I think it's just the same one, the survey, this is just a reminder. Let me see if it opens. It's going to be the same one. And what is going to happen, you see that it is required. So once you complete that, it's going to allow you to go to the next slide. But we do, because there will be snacks and some students may want to bring their own snacks as well. We want to make sure that we're taking care of allergens, so nothing with peanuts will be is recommended at all. So we want to make sure that we respect everybody's dietary requirements, and if anybody has any allergies, we want to make sure that everything is taken care of. So this is very important that everybody completes that as well. Um, I'm going to talk about dropping off and picking up your student, and then I'm going to pass to Mrs. Aman again. And then we're going to go through some of the questions. I believe there's some questions in the chat. So the student drop-off sound, we are going to have a welcome table at every location, and the locations have not been shared yet. We're still in the process of contracting those locations, but we wanted to give you the information of the dates, like, you know, so only the parents, learning coach, or emergency contacts are allowed to drop off or pick up a student. The driver license is going to be required, or at least a picture ID. The name and contact information of that coach and assistant coach, our people are that are going to be there in the welcoming area, are is going to be provided. So everybody is going to receive a personalized welcome letter that has all of the information, all of the links for the survey. We're going to send that in an email as well, but everybody's going to get their very specific information. For example, if you're in the southeast testing region, which includes Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade, your letter is going to say that you are testing in the Southeast region, that the person, in case of any emergencies to contact, is going to be, it's going to include the name, it's going to include the phone number, email address as well. It's going to tell you specifically at what time we start in that region, and it's going to give you all of that information. So it's really it's really important that you have that information in case of emergency information completed. Also, let's say, for example, that we lose internet and there might be a little delay in the testing. We are going to make sure that there is going to be constant communication, whether it's an email or to text to the parents saying we started testing late, we're running a little bit late, so that you are aware. So we want to make sure that you should check your phones or your emails as well. And more than anything, for your, we need to have your contact information to be accurate, because let's say that when you started school, you were living in Orlando and now you move to Margate. So we have you testing right now in Orlando or Orange County, but if now you live in Margate, then we need to move you to the Southeast region. So it's very important that your information is accurate. Miss Sanjurjo is our school registrar, and you need to contact her or you need to complete the survey. And now I'm gonna get it back to you, Betty.
All right. So for technology updates, students do need to bring their laptops and chargers to the testing center. All laptops are required to have the secured browsers, and we will provide that information at a later date. We are going to keep your laptops throughout the entire testing period and give them back to you at the end of the week. This is to ensure that they are charged, they're ready to go for testing for the next day, and we don't have any issues. To ensure students don't leave them at home. So this is just to make sure that everything is set for the morning of so that we can start testing on time. Earbuds will be provided for all students, so you don't need to worry about that. And calculators will also be provided for the required tests, the tests that require the calculators. So to order a school issued laptop, you must complete the laptop request form by March 10th. All right, and the next slide. And our next parent university night will be on March 22nd. We are having them monthly. So we will have one in March, April, and May. Again, we will include the link to sign up in the newsletter. And we also send that out as a parent link so that you can sign up and come to the next event. And just a reminder, we do send out the newsletters monthly here. So we put all upcoming information, dates, some great articles, mental health information, just all everything will be in our newsletters monthly. So make sure that you're checking out that information on a monthly basis. It usually comes out the middle of the month.
And I really think that's it. Oh no, we have one more.
We would like to for everyone to turn on their cameras if you can, please, so that we can take a picture and we will include it in the March newsletter.
Let me fix that, Betty, because when we send that link, I didn't have the allowed mic and camera, and we can also as well for any questions that they have. When we do the questions, that will be the great time too. So hold on, give me a minute. I am allowing the cameras. Let's see. Camera, allow camera. And then if you want to ask a question after we are done, here we
Sure.
go.
If everyone can turn on their cameras, please. Don't be shy. We appreciate you being here. It's great to see all of your faces. I see some of you making dinner. That's making me hungry.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you
All
joining
right,
us.
awesome.
So I know that there is a question, and
All
then
right.
we are going to. You want to read the question, Betty?
Sure. So we do have a question. How do I find the address to the testing center? I am located in Broward County.
Well, you're the perfect person to answer that question.
So actually, I live in Broward County. We are finding the locations within the area, and I'll be the captain for that zone, so I will see you there. But the specific locations will be coming at a later date. So we're looking into, different libraries, hotel conference rooms, um, that sort of location, and we will definitely let you know the specifics on there.
Excellent question. And we want to give that information to you as soon as possible, but at least now you know the date. If you have a question, if you like to write it in the chat box, or if you want to raise your hand, I believe there's another
I
question, Betty.
see another question. When will parents have access to the links in the PowerPoint for diet restrictions and the three contacts?
We are going to be sending emails tomorrow. So you will be getting an email with the contact information tomorrow. You will get a separate email for the health survey. And also, we're going to send a third one in case anyone still, you are almost on time to request a school issue laptop if you don't have one. So we're going to be sending 3 emails tomorrow. Be on the lookout. And if you don't get it by the end of the day, please communicate with us.
All right. Do we have any additional questions? I see one more. Someone's typing. Who do we call if we have any questions?
Excellent question. You, if you have any specific questions about your testing center, what is going to happen, everybody's going to receive a letter via email that says this is let's say for example, this is the testing center for Brenda. She is going to be testing at the, I'm just going to use an example, at the North Regional Library in Coconut Creek, Florida, that's in Broward. And her, the testing captain is, I'm gonna use Betty. Mrs. Aman is the testing coordinator at that specific region, and this is Mrs. Aman's phone number and also her email address. So there will be, once we identify the actual location, there is going to be names of a captain and an assistant captain who will be your contact person. In addition, everybody will get the in my name and phone number in case there is an emergency. So you will get that information as well. We are just waiting to have our venues identified. So when we send the information is complete. Excellent question.
Okay, I don't see any further questions. So I think the last slide just had all of our contact information. So this is just the VPA of Florida team.
And you can go to our website, bprepaflorida.org or virtualprepaflorida.org, and you have all of our information as well. Our phone number, if you call our main phone line, then it tells you for the school counselor, press a number, for the registrar, press a number, for the head of school, press, and then that's how you get us as well. Wonderful. If there are no other questions, we want to say thank you for all of you who joined us this afternoon. Please share this information with your friends and family. And we're looking forward to continue working with you. Mrs. Aman, anything else that you would like to add?
No, just thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you attending. It's always great to see your faces. So thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone.